Asahi cyberattack cripples Japan's leading brewer during high beer demand period. Massive data breach reveals 1.3 billion unique passwords. European nations investigating security loophole. In electric buses manufactured in China, Asahi cyberattack cripples Japan's leading brewer during high beer demand period. Massive data breach reveals 1.3 billion unique passwords. European nations investigating security loophole. In electric buses manufactured in China.
AI country singer Breaking Rust reaches the top of the Billboard charts with the song Walk My Walk. A German court has ruled that OpenAI infringed on copyright laws by using song lyrics without permission. According to a survey, individuals are now unable to distinguish between music created by AI and that produced by humans.
States request a prolongation of the e-commerce tariff suspension at the World Trade Organization. Visa and MasterCard are close to reaching an agreement with merchants, which would result in reduced fees, according to a Wall Street Journal report. A study reveals that 43% of Generation Z favors YouTube and TikTok over conventional television and streaming services, with a new trend of microdramas attracting 28 million viewers in the United States.
The U.S. Congressional Budget Office has been targeted by a suspected cyber attack from a foreign entity. Google has initiated legal action against a cybercriminal organization responsible for phishing scams involving EZPass and USPS text messages. The term vibe coding has been chosen over clanker as the Collins Dictionary's word of the year. The United Kingdom has temporarily halted the sharing of intelligence with the United States concerning suspected drug-related vessels in the Caribbean region. Former President Donald Trump conducted his inaugural meeting at the White House with the leader of Syria. In New Zealand, the police will be withdrawn from the process of gun licensing, although the near-complete prohibition on semi-automatic firearms will continue to be enforced.
Analysis reveals that China's carbon dioxide emissions have remained stable or decreased over the last 18 months. Reports indicate that Trump is considering a proposal to permit oil drilling along the California coast. In 2023, water temperatures in Amazon lakes soared to levels comparable to hot tubs, resulting in the deaths of fish and dolphins.
Trump defends plan to bring in hundreds of thousands of Chinese students. I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else. China introduces its own version of the H-1B visa to lure foreign tech professionals. In the U.S., the State Department has the authority to refuse immigrant visas to individuals with specific medical conditions.
Trump claims that the Republican Party would never face an electoral defeat again if the filibuster were abolished. Trump expresses a desire for the new Washington, D.C. Stadium of the Commanders to be named in his honor. During a speech at Arlington Cemetery, Trump refers to Veterans Day as Victory Day.
Ukraine's anti-corruption agency investigates a significant scheme within the energy sector, while the country suspends its justice minister due to suspected connections to a $100 million corruption scandal. Trump writes a letter requesting the Israeli president to pardon Netanyahu in his corruption trial. A court in Gabon imposes a 20-year prison sentence on the former First Lady and the president's son.
Women will be prohibited from participating in all-female Olympic competitions. The U.S. Supreme Court has declined to reverse its nationwide legalization of same-sex marriage. Kazakhstan is progressing with a Russian-style anti-LGBTQ law, aimed at prohibiting the promotion of non-traditional sexual orientation. Indonesia bestows the title of national hero upon former dictator Suharto. Serbian legislators give the green light to a luxury Trump hotel at a site with historical bombing significance, prompting Serbian demonstrators to pledge opposition to the real estate venture associated with Trump's son-in-law Kushner. Investigation by Milan into human safaris in Sarajevo during the 1990s, where tourists reportedly paid to murder civilians.
Xperia back to its Chinese owner, with the Dutch government withdrawing from its intervention. Xperia back to its Chinese owner, with the Dutch government withdrawing from its intervention to engage in discussions with China. Russia unveils its inaugural autonomous humanoid robot, which experiences instability and collapses during its initial presentation. The planet's premier facility for manufacturing flying cars commences trial operations in the southern region of China. Pope Leo XIV urges immediate measures to address climate change, asserting that God's creation is crying out.
China accuses the U.S. of attempting to weaken its relationship with Greece following remarks made by a U.S. envoy at the Piraeus port. Previously, a Trump-era envoy had cautioned Greece about the US's desire to exclude China from the Piraeus port, while Greece asserted that the port is not for sale to China. Meanwhile, China is quickly expanding its nuclear test site as Trump reignites Cold War tensions. Additionally, China instructs Japan to act appropriately after rejecting a request for discussions, despite both countries engaging in talks to ease tensions arising from PM Takaichi's comments on Taiwan.
China's clinical trial capabilities are now comparable to those of the United States, drawing increased interest from global pharmaceutical companies and investors. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announces that new dietary guidelines will be introduced shortly, stating, "We are concluding the conflict against saturated fats." In 2024, England experienced a 17% increase in fatalities associated with antibiotic-resistant superbugs.
U.S. and Russian officials have developed a new peace proposal for Ukraine. The Hill notes that Trump's 28-point peace plan has surprised Congress, as it requires Ukraine to surrender more territory in exchange for a security guarantee. Sources indicate that U.S. proposals to conclude Russia's war also involve Ukraine relinquishing some land and weapons. Hungary's Orbán states that Ukraine has no chance of winning the war. Meanwhile, Finland's president advises Europe to remain steadfast, cautioning that a ceasefire is unlikely in the near future in Ukraine. European nations are resisting the U.S. plan that would compel Ukraine to make concessions, and EU countries are insisting on having a role in the U.S.-Russia plan to end the war in Ukraine. In the U.S., the Department of Homeland Security intends to send federal agents to New Orleans for an immigration enforcement operation called Swamp Sweep, while Pope Leo criticizes the extremely disrespectful treatment of immigrants in the U.S. In the UK, the Home Office minister suggests that asylum seekers' jewelry might be confiscated to cover processing expenses. A Chinese woman who falsely claimed a different nationality to become a mayor in the Philippines has been imprisoned for human trafficking. In the United States, Meta triumphs in a significant antitrust lawsuit concerning its acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp, with a judge determining that Meta does not possess a monopoly in the social media sector. Facebook and Instagram are set to begin removing Australian teenagers from their platforms due to an impending social media ban. Spain plans to probe Meta for suspected privacy violations on Android devices. The European Union relaxes regulations on artificial intelligence and privacy, prompting concerns from critics that it is yielding to major technology companies. Trump demands the revocation of ABC's broadcast licenses following a reporter's inquiry, as he reacts sharply to a female journalist's question about the Epstein files, referring to her as "quiet piggy." Trump enacts the Epstein bill into law, leading to the release of files from the Department of Justice, while Larry Summers takes a leave of absence from Harvard amid an investigation into his connections with Jeffrey Epstein, as Harvard initiates a new probe into Epstein's connections with Summers and other university members. Allegedly, Jeffrey Epstein sought to engage the Swiss Rothschild Bank to fund an Israeli cyber weapons enterprise.
In the UK, the army plans to utilize Call of Duty for soldier training. Research indicates China's potential to disrupt Elon Musk's Starlink satellites during a Taiwan invasion, with Chinese researchers simulating extensive electronic warfare against Starlink. Trump's peace proposal for Ukraine involves a NATO-like security assurance, and his strategy to conclude the Ukraine conflict includes conceding Donbass to Russia.
Japan announces plans to restart the world's largest nuclear facility. The UK's digital ID initiative sparks conspiracy theories, though the government refutes claims of control. Moss spores endure for 9 months beyond the International Space Station. Meta aims to utilize trading to fulfill its AI energy requirements. Google's AI infrastructure leader informs employees that the company needs to double its AI serving capacity every 6 months to keep up with demand. Malaysia's leading palm oil companies are shifting towards AI data centers and solar projects to accommodate a $34 billion investment surge.
Roblox prevents children from communicating with adult strangers. A Japanese woman ties the knot with her AI partner, donning augmented reality glasses during the ring exchange. Malaysia plans to enforce a social media ban for teenagers under the age of 16.
CDC updates website to indicate vaccines might lead to autism, altering previous statement. RFK Jr. claims he instructed CDC to eliminate assertion that vaccines are not linked to autism. Research involving 3 million individuals shows non-voters are more likely to have shorter lifespans. Survey indicates U.S. employee well-being reached an unprecedented low in 2024.
Study reveals AI bots exhibit gambling addiction traits. Microsoft AI CEO responds to criticism following recent Windows AI backlash, expressing surprise at public disappointment. Arrests made of U.S. citizens and Chinese nationals for illegally exporting AI technology to China.
Rubio asserts that the United States created the Ukraine peace plan, and both the U.S. and Ukraine have agreed to modify the draft to avoid appeasing Russia. In Geneva, officials from the U.S. and Ukraine report advancements towards concluding Russia's war but provide limited details. Meanwhile, Ukraine is investigating over 178,000 war crimes during discussions about Trump's peace plan, with Zelensky stating that the plan forces Ukraine to choose between maintaining its dignity and aligning with the U.S. The U.S. is urging Ukraine to finalize a peace agreement by Thanksgiving or risk losing support. Sources indicate that the U.S. is threatening to withhold intelligence and weapons to pressure Ukraine into accepting the peace deal. Previously, Trump stated that Zelensky could either agree to the peace plan or continue fighting intensely. The Telegraph suggests that Trump's actions are consistent with those of a Russian asset.
Over alleged scheme to flee and evade a 27-year prison sentence.
An Indonesian state-owned fund is considering opportunities in overseas AI infrastructure. According to an official, The Intercept reports that the FBI is seeking AI surveillance drones equipped with facial recognition technology. The head of TikTok asserts that AI moderation does not